It's the Absurd American Nerdcast with your host, Dino Freddy and Mr.S.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the next episode of The Absurd, the most American, the most Nerdcast. I am your host, Dino Freddy with Mr.S. How are you doing,
Hello.
Mr.S. today?
Doing good, thank you.
Thank you. We do have quite a bit of things to talk about today. The first being the Instagram of Pokemon. The official Pokemon account spoils the ending of the show after 25 years of waiting. We got the answer. So,
wow.
be on the spoil look for that. We have a couple honorable mentions of the death of Kevin Conroy, who's been voicing Batman since as far back as I can remember as a child, to the video games and other shows as well. And then watermelons can rest a little bit easy. That's a pun towards the death of Gallagher. He was a comedian back in the day, and he used to smash watermelons with a sledgehammer on stage. Huge pallets of watermelons, and that was like his whole bit. The whole crowd went crazy. One after another, smash, smash, smash. It was crazy.
Wow.
We're going to be talking about Tales of the Jedi, a little bit of the Easter eggs and stuff that's finally connecting with the overall story of Star Wars. The last episode of Andor and the fate of Andy Serkis' character. We're going to be really sad if he dies because he couldn't swim. And then we are going to be talking about Peacemaker. What did it really hold up to what DC's kind of looking for in its new and improved way of making movies and shows. We have a couple of shows on Netflix that we've been watching. Steven, Mr.S, has been checking out Enola Holmes, and I've been checking out the show Inside Man. So we also have a guest speaker today, our friend Rick, who is a big Witcher fan, and we want to talk about the differences of what's being changed to the show, some rumors that we heard about. There's some possibilities of, basically the cast, not the cast, but the crew and, the writers of the show are not really taking this serious, and they're not there's been a little bit of drama in the background. So we're going to be getting into that a little bit later in this episode. So buckle up and get ready. So Mr. Asshole, do you want to start off with Andor, my friend? We're going to start off
Yeah,
and
we
jump into the
we
Star
can
Wars topic.
totally discuss some Andor. Andor is still one of the best shows that's coming out, especially with Star Wars and everything right now. The writing's really awesome and intricate. We love the story development, the character development. This, I had mentioned that it's very slow and slow moving, but at the same time, I'm really appreciating all the sound, the finer little details that they're adding in, all the fun stuff that we're getting that's really tying everything Star Wars together, especially for the Rebel Alliance. um, so in that kind of aspect, it is going kind of slow. So I know that we've missed out on a couple of episodes talking, but we didn't really miss a lot. Kazian went to prison. He then planned an escape, and now he has escaped prison, which is really awesome. And of course, we saw him running away with his friend, who we see again in Rogue One and everything I mentioned in our last episode. So I mean, overall, it was cool to see a bank heist, so to speak, and then now we see a prison escape. So, I mean, sky's the limit. What's coming up next? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with this show. So far, there's only 10 episodes this season, so I think from what we were hearing, what they plan to do with the second season is have it a week before the events of Rogue One is supposed to happen, which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the development and the beginning of the Rebel Alliance, the formation of it, how it came to be, how Andor became so intertwined and connected into the Rebel Alliance, what he had to do, because he said he did a lot of bad things in Rogue One, and he's been in this fight since he was so young, and I'm excited to see what he had to go through, because I can only imagine on the side of the Imperials on the ruthless things that they have to do because of their loyalty and their siding But I'm also like excited to see like what it takes for these rebels or to an imperialist, these terrorists are taking to restore order to the Republic. So I'm excited to see all this. Also, with as there's so many Easter eggs like in that man's like gallery, from a headdress to a Sith armor to like Plo Koon's breathing mask. Like we've had so many Easter eggs connecting to like the past, the present, and the future of Star Wars.
Right.
Like it's so easy to dive into this show because it's showing a side of Star Wars that we haven't seen, like the underbelly, which is what we wanted. Like I've seen a lot of people kind of criticize the show. I mean, you just said like the show's been going really slow, which I mean it has, but that's because
It's
you're
kind of the
building a
principle
story. Like
behind
you're
it. Yeah.
building the world around you, the characters. You know, you want character development, and that's something that we didn't really have in the sequel trilogy. Like we didn't have that proper character development like we've seen through the entire like original trilogy and prequels too. So and Clone Wars and Rebels and I'm just kind of glad that we're getting what we got now in Andor, and it's kind of satisfying the whole like original Star Wars feeling, of that like old like 70s like retro Star Wars feeling, and it just kind of goes through that entire show and has like that same feeling of like, wow, this is Star Wars. This is like what Star Wars is supposed to be, an
Right.
espionage show.
I'm gonna say that I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Andor is just one of those shows that we're getting all the goods with, and you really just can't complain about it. Like you are literally getting slow and good character development, excellent writing, superb acting, just all around like cinematography, costuming, everything. Everything is going so well for them. It's so great. So props to Andor. You're doing an amazing job. I still can't wait to see what else that we're getting from Star Wars.
I know, and we just wrapped up a few weeks ago um, Tales of the Jedi, which was really solid too. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
was really good.
I have like so many notes just for each episode. Like it's absolutely insane. So with like Tales of the Jedi, um, what an amazing series that we got. I mean, we'll just start diving in. So episode one, of course, we get the birth of Ahsoka, um, and just how excited her dad was and everything for her birth. Like he's running around like a kind of out of character because he's so excited. Um, and then of course, mom's got to take her on the first hunt. Um, but it was really cool to see the connection to the Force that Ahsoka really has. Um, and even more so, I took note of her connection that she can use with animals. And that's
Oh yeah,
something that her and Ezra both have very strong connections in the Force with because he does control animals and can use the Force to, like, communicate with them to tell them what to do, so to speak. And then
hmm
you also have the ability, you know, just to calm them down and avoid attack, which is what she does. And then on top of that, the lion tiger thing that she was abducted by carries her back peacefully to the village. And then I like the old woman where she was like, Ahsoka is Jedi, and I was like, yeah, no shit.
yeah. I
what
mean, you
what
could
she
just see
becomes
like
is just absolutely incredible.
yeah, you could see like the her immense power when she's just young, and you can just understand why she's Anakin's apprentice.
Right.
Like he, like you see it in the show, like his training in the later episode, and you can understand why she was picked for him.
Right.
So
Yeah, just absolutely. And then we move into episode 2 where we get young Count Dooku, young Qui-Gon Jinn,
hmm
and we kind of go to a diplomatic solution kind of thing where, they're sent there to create peace. And then even better is that you see the dark side that's starting to really influence Count Dooku, and he starts like choking and really being like more of a menace with the dark side. And of
I
course,
mean, yeah, with like his, well, he's starting to question the Jedi at this point. Like he's starting to
right,
like fall, and there's like another power out for him, and he's not getting the full of his ability, and he's just kind of like you can just see him kind of like he's so tired about doing this. Like from it
right,
always goes from like a peaceful negotiation to aggressive negotiations. Like that is like you know what the what he's taken that side that and Qui-Gon's like uh, dude, you good?
right.
Like, hey man, chill.
You got to remember, you're a Jedi?
Yeah,
Question mark.
not a. What are you doing? Force choking people? Come on. Like
Right.
I know Anakin did it to Poggle, but come on.
And then that kind of forwards into episode 3, where we really start seeing him more so dive into the darkness, do more and more different stuff. But in episode 3, we also get Mace Windu before he's on the Jedi Council, and then we also get his what do you say, promotion, or voted
Oh
in,
yeah,
or
yeah for the
the
council seat. Yeah,
prestige of being on the council. So I mean, I
yeah.
that's really cool stuff that we're getting that we don't really get to see in the movies and all the other stuff. So a nice little tidbit there to see Mace Windu and Count Dooku, their relationship, and then where Mace goes, and then where Count goes. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
again,
the
really cool.
only the only thing that we saw that I mean technically is quote unquote somewhat canon was from the 2003 Clone Wars show where we saw Anakin's braid get chopped off, and that was him turning in from a Padawan to a Jedi Knight. Like that
Right.
is like his initiation. I mean, we haven't really seen much of initiation except for like video games and whatnot. But yeah, it was cool to see like, oh, hey, I got the council seat, and like I feel like Mace Windu's kind of smug about it. Like you could watch like Revenge of the Sith, and you're just kind of like, I mean, he doubts like Anakin, and he's like, the chosen one, come on, like he always
Right.
has this like fucking doubt, you know and this
Hmm.
smugness with this doubt that he has, and it's very prominent in this episode that you could see with Dooku and how Dooku kind of responds to hearing his like promotion and whatnot, and him getting jealous, and
Yeah.
him just kind of getting fed up with like the politics and how the hierarchy works within the Jedi Order. So, like, you kind of sympathize with Dooku a little bit because he's finally like quote unquote towards like his fall was like him opening his eyes. You know?
He's woke. He's force
Yeah,
woke.
he's force woke. Don't call me a snowflake in the Garden of Jedi.
I'm more of a boomer in this situation.
I swear to God, if they associate me with these new Jedi millennials, I'm gonna lose it.
Anakin who? And then I mean we keep progressing forward, and I like how they kept like a little bit of a storyline too. So in episode 4, we find out that Count Dooku is the one who deleted all the files from Camino in the archives, and we also get introduced to Yaddle as well. Really awesome to see her. Very interesting that her speech is way different from Master Yoda's. You would think that same race they would communicate at least somewhat similarly using the English language, but it's very interesting that she can speak very clearly,
I
and
think she's
Yoda is.
younger.
So maybe
Like,
maybe that's it. Maybe age in that alien race is why
cause
they
like
start speaking differently.
Yaddle was only in a one live action Star Wars movie, and that was Phantom Menace.
Right.
We didn't really hear her talk at all during that, so she's just been on the side, and she didn't appear in Attack of the Clones. Um, I think she didn't appear in Attack of the Clones, but I'm pretty sure at this point, like now this solidifies why. Yeah, she wasn't in Attack of the Clones. She died by I mean, we're gonna obviously talk about it,
Hmm.
but spoiler: she gets killed by Count Dooku as his to show loyalty to Palpatine.
Right.
Um, which I will say, like, I don't think there was much content before this about how Yaddle didn't show up or really anything.
Hmm.
I think maybe she was in a short story or a couple of comics, but other than
Yeah,
that, nothing.
we really haven't gotten much about her or around her. So again, for being a Star Wars fan, it's really cool to see them bringing a character that we know exists and then giving some fluff to her story.
Oh, yeah, and including like what you were saying before about, Count Dooku erasing the documents or the location of Camino from the archives, which we see in Attack of the Clones. He's mentioning Cypher Diaz. He's like, you see pieces of him being broke away
Right.
until like episode like 4, and that's when that happens. Like,
Right.
you know,
That's kind of where we are too,
yeah.
in our discussion here. Um, I also thought it was very interesting that the day that Anakin was brought to the temple for his Jedi testing was the same day that Count Dooku deleted the files.
Yeah, right?
And like that was just such an interesting kind of like timeline thing. Like I just found that super interesting. And I wrote down another fun fact. The forest trees that are in the Jedi Temple that you see Yaddle standing in front of in Tales of the Jedi, but in Clone Wars you also see Master Yoda meditate in front of them as well. Those trees are actually um, some of the branches from that tree. The Emperor actually keeps for himself in destroying the temple, and then later on, Luke actually takes them from the Emperor, and he keeps one for himself, and then he takes the other one and gives it to Poe Dameron's parents of all people. So that's kind of in a comic book and book lore um, scene, to find out those details. But I just thought it was interesting that they picked that tree for her to stand in front of before she goes to her death. And this is the same tree that Yoda pretty much goes to before he faces a really dark side of the Force moment as well. And then on top of that, I mean, Luke faced a very dark opponent, obviously the Emperor, and stealing those branches from him. And then on top of that, he was like, "What do I do with these?" And he gives it to Poe Dameron's parents, and then he keeps one for himself as like the Light of New Hope. And then, of course, later on, we see Poe Dameron in the movies. So just kind of like a subtle hint of tying everything together, and I absolutely love that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's a nice domino effect.
right. And then of course Yaddle goes on to tell Count Dooku about Qui Gon Jinn's funeral on Naboo and where it's going to be, and that we're leaving in an hour. Get in the car or don't go at all, pretty much. But that kind of explains why she wasn't in Naboo for that funeral, but instead she was going to Count Dooku and facing her death.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's also really cool that Count Dooku wanted to recruit Qui Gon Jinn because of his thinking and his way of being with the Council and of course with the Force to be on the ally side for the Separatists. But of course, the Rule 2, baby. The Emperor shuts that down really quickly, and obviously his second apprentice, kind of Maul, kills Qui Gon and does that for him, so that way there's only one person to be loyal to, and that's him.
But a lot I've seen people like kind of debate online if Qui Gon would truly join Dooku. I don't
Right.
really think he would. I mean, he's
I don't think you
wavering
would
on
either.
his.
I think that there might have been a yes, he joins them, but then later on circles back and is obviously the defeat.
Yeah, I. Well, the thing was like he was very adamant about showing that this Anakin had powers, and he was kind of like. I feel like anytime Qui-Gon was on screen in Phantom, he was butting heads with the Council, because like the Council is so, as Palpatine put it, dogmatic in their ways of views,
Mm-hmm.
that it's become more of like, oh, you're qualified to become a Jedi because your midichlorian count. But what if you don't have enough midichlorians? Are you a Jedi or just a Force user? Like, it just kind of became to that, and I didn't really think like. I think Qui-Gon would have left, but I don't think he would have joined his master.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because
He
at the end of the day, he
would
was
have done
still
more of
trying
like an
to
Ahsoka
get.
move and kind of done his own thing.
Yeah, that, and he was very adamant on trying to, bring the prophecy to the Jedi. Like, Anakin Skywalker is the prophecy. He's the chosen one. Like, he was very adamant on doing that. If he wasn't really about the Jedi, I don't think he would have. He would have just took Anakin for himself
Yeah,
and
he
trained him by
wouldn't.
himself.
Right. He wouldn't have really been interested in the prophecy and doing
Yeah.
everything and like bringing him before the council and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been really interesting to see.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but Star Wars would have been much different.
Maybe like in the beginning, like
Much different.
groundworks, like Count Dooku and him having like a small conversation or something about, hey, there's this, and then Qui-Gon really thinking about it and tying that in somehow with him finding Anakin and everything. I don't know.
I'm sure it would have I mean, if this was mentioned to Palpatine in this episode, like it's gonna be filled in later. Like if he was like, "Hey, Palpatine, what about my apprentice? He would be pretty good about it." I mean, that could have like came from something we didn't see yet of
Right.
like Qui-Gon and Dooku talking about it, or him mentioning like, "Oh," or like being very like um, sly in his comments about it. But, like he's very like it's like code words. Like if you don't feel
Right.
like this, how like Ahsoka was when she was at the funeral and she was hiding from the clone troopers with Bail Organa in one of the episodes. Like he was like talking out loud, but like it was in the context of what it was looking for, of what
If
Ahsoka
you
was
need
hearing.
me, call me. No
Yeah,
matter where you
exactly.
are, no matter how far.
Ah,
I mean, that's pretty much what he was saying to Ahsoka, and I am glad that he bought her that cell phone with prepaid minutes.
oh man, that burner he handed her, yo, it looked like a straight up sketchy drug deal out of that. He was
Right.
like, "You shouldn't be here. Take
She's
this
like,
if you
I'll
need
never
it."
need it, but I'm glad that I have it because I might need that in the next episode.
Thank you for being my undercover drug guy and taking this for me. Thank you. Appreciate
Right. so, so
Oh,
then
okay. So
we get into episode 5.
yeah, that's
And
what I was
this
gonna
is,
mention.
and then we get into it with Ahsoka practicing her lightsaber skills with what are those little droids called? Do you know what they're called?
Those are the training probe droids. So like
Training
those
probe
were
droids.
what you saw Luke train with in Episode 4 of A New Hope, and they've been kind of featured in every Star Wars
Right.
media ever since when it comes to younglings or anybody training. The only thing that I didn't see before was I didn't know they opened, and they
Yeah, I
had
never knew
like
that either.
that's cool. That's something new. Uh, but
Um,
I'm glad Anakin was like, yeah, don't bother with this. Here, come with me. And it's like him and the 501st, like, hey, these are going to be your trainers because, like, I want you to feel safe. I want you to protect yourself.
right,
If I'm not there, I want you to be on my level. And I'm so glad, like, he is such a good teacher with that. Because,
right.
like, a
But let's
droid.
get to that in a second because in the beginning when she's practicing, there's a lot of cool stuff there. One, it's really cool to see that she only has one lightsaber instead of her two, so she's still
Mhm.
really early on in that training. And in that scene, we also see a young Caleb Doom.
Yeah, we do. We also see the mullet on Obi-Wan Kenobi, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
full force, like Marlboro cigarettes and Bud Light.
He was the dad that went to the gas station and came back. I wish mine
With
was like
another
that.
child.
Anyway,
But anyway, we do see that training flash forward into something like you were talking about with Anakin and just giving her the
yeah,
firing squad. But
it
man,
pays off, bro, and it like it leads up. This is crazy. This is the
right?
crazy part. It leads up to victory and death. Like
Yes,
that episode of the Clone Wars, and it's like opening and Jesse's over there, but Jesse was the like it's so weirdly and cool connected, and I was just like really that episode was probably so perfect, well done.
right.
I need more.
You just see that, and then of course Rex going. Well, I hope all that training paid off. Oh, just so
Honest,
great. So yeah, it was really cool seeing all that stuff happen and just lead up into what we've already seen. I get chills just thinking about it right now, just because it's such an impactful scene, especially for the Star Wars fans out there. Oh, just amazing. And then when we didn't think it could get any better, we go back to episode 6, where we catch up with Ahsoka in hiding on a farm, where of course she gets figured out. But she's going by Ashla, Ashla, I believe. Yeah, just like in the novels and in some of her comic stuff. So she's keeping ties with all the other storylines and everything. Um, there was one thing where Bail Organa wasn't supposed to meet her until a little bit later, but the storyline that they're following is Dave Filoni's story for Ahsoka. And he goes, those two stories, those are both books. They're pretty parallel, so he's going off the one that he wrote, so that
yeah.
it keeps within all the storyline and everything. So I mean that kind of makes perfect sense. Of course, she gets found out because snitches be snitches, and
Oh,
then we do get a very quick but really awesome sixth brother fight,
oh
where
yeah.
it like just they're pulling a lot of Japanese style and like Western style stuff together for their cinematography right now, and it's really cool to see those really old style of films, but like revamping them and building up the intensity, and then like I mean the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight did the same thing. It was
Oh yeah.
literally like two slashes and that was it. But I mean, you also see how badass Ahsoka really is in this,
hmm
and
I mean,
that it was totally worth it.
I mean, you know, I will say this: like George Lucas loves samurai films, and he loves Western movies. Like okay, so if you watch season 2 of The Mandalorian, and it's the Ahsoka on that one planet, you know, when she's fighting that
Yeah.
one person with the Beskar staff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that is like a scene ripped out of the Japanese samurai movie Yojimbo, and it is such a good movie. It's like about this hired samurai. It's like at the end of the samurai era. You know, there are rebels, and you know, it introduces the gun because, like, you know, samurai were just kind of obsolete when gunpowder and revolvers and rifles were introduced. You
Right.
know, so they started switching over, and you know, it shows that you know when he was walking up into the middle of that one road into town, and it's this kind of like that standoff with Yojimbo and the rebel. And when he goes in, it's literally like 2 or 3 hits, and then he just seizes his sword and walks away casually. Like that is
Yeah.
like if you samurai technique, you don't want to be there as longer than you have to. Like, and that's what Ahsoka does. She takes the time that she needs, formulates how she's going to defeat her, and does it. And it
Yeah.
was executed perfectly with this Inquisitor that she was fighting, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
It it's another when are the Inquisitors going to figure out that their lightsabers have the weakness in the middle?
Oh my god, yo! When she shut off that man's lightsaber mid match, I was like, She called you a bitch right there. Like, she called you a bitch.
Right?
Opened it and fucked you with your own lightsaber. Like, she had no other weapon.
Literally armless. Like, I mean, we've seen Caleb Dune rip Inquisitor lightsabers in half. You know, just sticking two lightsabers in, and ripping it apart.
Yep.
You know, like when are the Inquisitors gonna find out that they need a new lightsaber?
Bro, there was
Oh,
that one
and
Inquisitor in Rebels when he was trying to fly away on it and it just, like, went to shit and he died from falling.
just
Like on Malachor 5, aka Mandalore, not Mandalore, Korriban or Morban, it's called. I don't know. There's a lot of planets that are renamed throughout.
and
Yeah.
that's cool that I didn't know before. And
Fun facts.
the fun facts, the the lightsaber crystals that are from the sixth brother that she just defeated become her new Kyber crystals for her new lightsabers.
Aren't they bled already? Like, the lightsaber crystal has already been bled. Like, that's how it turns red.
It's
That's
with
like a
blood,
new
right?
Disney thing. Like, it's not red kyber crystals just by themselves. Like, you have to bleed the crystal, and that's how you get
Mm.
a red saber.
I'm
So
pretty
I don't
sure that
know
those
how she
crystals.
reverses that.
It's either those are the crystals that become her new sabers, or maybe we'll get some more info with some new episodes of
That'd
her
be cool.
finding kyber crystals and
Yeah,
having them call to her. That'd be
that'd be
cool.
pretty cool.
That'd be really
So
cool.
I know that there, like, originally there was a comic book line from Dark Horse Comics called Tales of the Jedi. There was also a comic line called Tales of the Sith where it explored Darth Bane, the ancient Sith order and stuff like that. So I hope they actually release that so we could get, like, the rule of two
Right.
established on screen finally by Darth
Yeah.
Bane. Like, I just
That'd be really
that
cool. There's some
I
really
know every
cool Star Wars stuff and Star Wars ideas that I know of that you and I have discussed that would be really cool movies.
Oh yeah, like I think the I mean I know that they're not going to do the Thrawn trilogy from the original like books, but I love that the stuff that we have now with Thrawn. I think putting
Hmm.
him earlier instead of after Return of the Jedi has been more beneficial to that character and flushing him out more. Not saying that I didn't like him before, but he basically was copied and pasted from his original character, which was nice. There was nothing really changed about it. Um, I just want, because like they've been mentioned, like Darth Revan, Nihilus, and Darth Malak have been mentioned in Star Wars lore somewhere in a book, and Darth Bane, because he was the one that basically, if you don't know who Darth Bane is, Darth Bane and his apprentice Satana, who he found on a planet, become the new Sith Order when he took out the entire Sith and Jedi, almost the entire Jedi Order in in a cave, and it was all due to his thing called the Thought Bomb. And from there, he went into hiding, and it's just been keeping the Sith under wraps the entire time. And this was like a few thousand years before the events of Phantom Menace. Like the Sith have been under like cover the entire time, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And it kind of leads up. If anybody loves reading books, there's a book called Darth Plagueis, and it's a Legends book set in the Star Wars universe. But it goes off to when Darth Plagueis and his master Darth Tenebris, um, kind of like, that's where the Sith Order is right there. And then Plagueis finds Sidious after killing Tenebris and becomes. It's like a mob novel.
Have
It's
you
like
ever read The Dark Story of Plagueis the Wise?
and then comes the tragedy.
And then is the follow up book, The Tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise.
That's basically what happens.
Yeah, that book's a sleeper, though.
I mean,
Oh, if you get it, you get it. I'm not getting into it.
he
Oh,
got wasted.
excuse me.
Oh,
Oh,
a little
alrighty.
rough right there.
Well, I think we wrap up Star Wars there because I don't really have much more, and we just went through it with Jedi, Tales of the
Yeah,
Jedi.
we did.
Um, I think we move on to a newer movie out that I know that both of us were really excited about coming out. We've seen it at different times, and that is Black Adam. And I put here in the notes because I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on these subjects or on these categories, the same as the categories that I'm going to go through: cinematography, music, writing, and acting.
Okay, can I list my cons first?
Yeah, sure. We
Okay,
can do
so
pros and cons and then break it down.
I don't know if this is just the acting portion of it, but I enjoyed majority of the acting in that movie. I thought The Rock was great. I thought everybody else was perfect, including Pierce Bronson, who played Doctor Fate. And wow, he was amazing,
He
like
was
completely amazing.
honestly best
Um,
part of the entire movie was him.
oh yeah. Um, I just feel like superheroes have like this tendency to have segments of bad acting in it. Like when it comes to
Mhm.
like a third character or like a behind the scenes character, or it's people just talking or chatter going on. But there's like these parts where I'm just watching like what was it? I think also in like Age of Ultron. I know this is like a Marvel movie, but this is another example that I just cannot get out of my mind. Was like I don't know, the mom and the kid, and I just thought that was kind of bad. And I don't know, like I just feel like
Yeah,
Black Adam had kind of those tropes in it, and I was like not really about it. But I mean, other than that, like everybody else was fantastic.
like why are
Um,
we in Egypt and we're all speaking Spanish?
yes.
It
Does
just
that happen? Is that what happened?
apparently.
Well, I didn't know then. I didn't know. They're well,
I
if that happened, then yeah, that's their fuck up, honestly. Because like,
well, like
why would you do that?
he's an ancient Egyptian god wizard, and they give you this whole Egyptian background, and then the entire movie. I'm pretty sure if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That everyone was speaking Spanish in that town, which is like okay. I mean, if that's a thing, that's a thing. But it was yeah,
I'm gonna have to rewatch it now because I didn't notice that.
yeah.
That just kind of blew my mind a little bit. I'm like, I didn't notice that.
uh,
Okay.
I was sitting in the theater and I was going, why? Like it doesn't sound Egyptian. It
Mhm.
sounds very Hispanic and very maybe I'm wrong and they're very similar sounding, but I don't think that that is no. So I mean that drove me nuts. The previous episodes or one of the previous episodes I mentioned that the kid skateboarding in at the end was just
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
it's like you're not ready for battle at all. Like you don't even act like you're trying to gain speed
I
to
think we
take
talked
out
about this
something.
before.
We did. I'm just saying that that was another thing that drove me nuts about the movie.
Yeah, no, like that's what we were talking about before. Like what I was saying was like, remember Hollywood has this depiction of teenagers, what they think that they are.
Yeah, and it was like 90s MTV.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's not.
Right, writing a show about teenagers and even into like 20-year-olds. Trying to write right now for that demographic is insane.
Yeah, it is.
Because they're all very pop culture and they jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and
Mhm.
it's very it would be very difficult for the writer. So I understand the writer writing what you know, and you're probably going off of like the cool kid or something back in the day, but man, it did not translate well on screen.
Other than that, from acting, I thought the music and cinematography were great. I thought the fight
Right.
sequences, the action was awesome. Like the locations, everything about it made it feel more immersive. I mean, if they were using another language that wasn't really for the area. I really didn't know. It just
Yeah.
didn't really pop into me. But
I I th- I thought cinematography was absolutely phenomenal. They, like I mentioned before, they took the aspects of the fighting scenes so they could really slow in and really go in there and see people use their powers. And you had mentioned before, Marvel does more wide angle superhero shots, and DC's doing more of a close in, get in the action
oh
kind of
yeah,
shots. And how much I appreciate that is on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 15. So I
I
mean,
think like the most we've had from a superhero close shot, like from Marvel superhero movies.
hmm
I thought Winter Soldier was kind of a close up one. Whenever the Hulk was running through, I forget where, but there's this one part where we're following the Hulk and he's running through, and there's a close up shot with him fighting the Hulk Buster. I mean, they
oh yeah,
do more widescreen shots, but it's very rare that they'll like do a close up shot of the fight
right.
sequences.
If it is, it's like a quick, I caught your punch, or
Yeah.
like absorbing and then like countering instead of like delivering that blow.
Hmm.
So cinematography as a whole, I would probably rate it as 8.5. Nah, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was really cool. The graphics and everything they used, especially with Doctor Fate, was just wow. Music for it, music was really good. I didn't find myself really oddly going, why is this music here? Um, Man, hearing Black Adam with what's the song? Paint It Black.
Hmm.
Just
So good.
I mean,
So
they,
good.
of course, I know the song really well, and it's one of my top listens. But it was one of those like cut edits, and you listen through it, and you're like, okay, I see why they cut this part out and this part out, and you made it pretty awesome. So,
Hmm.
music, solid 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
Uh,
with that.
Writing, I'd give it a 7.
I mean, it's an origin movie, and it's like DC. Like, I think the second DC movie that's kind of rebooted with the new timeline or the new storyline.
Right.
That's not Scott Snyder's storyline.
I just
I mean, it's
it
it's a
flowed
whole
pretty
new aspect.
decently. I just wanted more. Of course, I wanted more action.
Hmm.
Um, I just I feel like the little kid storyline could have just been niched, and it could have been the mom and the brother, and it would have been okay.
Oh yeah.
Um, I literally I don't know what that kid was doing there. I thought he was gonna gain powers of Shazam at one point, just because to help out, but no. I was like, oh, here we go. Here was another Shazam character, and it didn't happen. So I just don't know the point of him being there. So writing 7 out of 10. Action sequences were great. The origin section was really good to see, and I thought the writing was really good in that. The build up between the two, all the action characters, I again like overall really awesome. Definitely would suggest going to see Black Adam. It was really good. And then of course the last thing was acting. I'm gonna give it a good solid 9 out of 10 as well. One, because we could have gotten rid of the child actor. Nothing against him or his acting ability or anything. We just didn't need it. Um, I thought everyone else did really good with everything that they were given. And I mean, I even got a little bit emotional towards the end. I'm not gonna lie, like the acting was actually really good. It really captivated me some emotionally at the end. And of course, we're not gonna go into the details when Henry Cavill showed up at the end, but
Spoiler
buttery
alert.
popcorn. Buttery popcorn, that's all I'm going to say.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, Henry Cavill's Superman does join in. I'm glad that we have another super like that on Earth with Superman.
Right.
And we'll get into the Cavill DC Witcher thing in a little bit, and we'll go more into that with our guest speaker. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool to see that intertwine, and it sure shows that the hierarchy of the DC universe has drastically changed. So, and yeah,
Yeah,
Black Adam's no one to fuck with. I mean,
I
like
mean,
even in the
absolutely not.
comics, like him and General Zod, I think are the same like, yo, go fuck yourself like attitude type of thing, and they'll do whatever they want because they have the power to do it.
Imagine those two teaming up. That'd be crazy.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I would say they would fight over who's better than each other, but I do think if they were to team up, that would be
Yeah,
like,
it would be more of a contest kind of thing.
oh my god, yo, just introduce like, okay, so like, if we had a fight between like Black Adam teaming up with General Zod against Superman and who we should put Superman with? Supergirl? Should we put him with Doctor Fate? Should we put him with
Mm.
who should we put him with? Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, is Shazam a possibility to go against Magic?
Yeah, I think that would be really
But
good. Like Captain
just
Marvel, yeah, I think that would be well
Captain
because like
Marvel would be a
Superman
good one
is
too.
overall weak against magic, so
Yeah,
he's already weak against Adam, and he's definitely weak against Shazam because they're both magic-based superheroes.
right. So
Um,
you would need someone with magic in order to help Superman out.
so I think like General Zod would fight Superman, obviously, but I think
Yeah,
like oh man, that would be really that's a tough one. I mean,
right.
obviously you could point the characters with each other that have
Who does
you know
Superman
magic
go?
powers and then
You
not
know
magic
what?
powers, but like if they mix it up, like
You guys tell us
that
in
would
the
be interesting.
comments. Who would
Yeah,
Superman go to for help against and to help get help for defeating Black Adam and General Zod? Superman
yeah.
needs another super. Who's it going to be? Comment down below. I want to know.
I'm trying to think. Oh, I could have the Flash.
Flash should be good.
Flash would be dope.
I still say Shazam. Magic versus magic, and then, of course, alien versus alien. So that way it's an equal match.
Yeah, I mean that could work, but like I want
I
someone
mean,
like weird that shouldn't be there. You know?
Polka Dot Man.
Oh my God, Polka Dot Man. Here's a dimension. Just enjoy it. The Clock King from the Batman animated series. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. Yo, here's the Clock Man. I stopped time and I robbed banks. That's all
Well,
I do.
I mean, kind of mentioning Batman and other DC stuff. I mean, I personally am watching Peacemaker right now, and I know you've watched it. I'm about 3 episodes in, so no big spoilers for me or anything.
I mean,
But
I'm gonna say it's the only absurd American thing that you would watch.
oh my God, is it? It
Yeah,
is like literally the epitome of what we are.
yeah.
He's like racist redneck dad. Not
Oh,
saying this about me or anything with my family. I want to make sure that that's very clear. My family is not racist assholes. And I was not trained in combat from birth on anything and everything and turning everything. I am not that, but I'm just saying that it's like the most absurd American thing ever. His car is the American flag. He has a bald eagle as a pet. I mean, honestly, besides him being president, I mean, what else? What else do you
yeah, that would
want?
be. Oh man, it's.
And the next president of the United States, John Cena. Bum bum ba bum ba 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 da.
I'll never want to live in that America. Anyway. Oh, that's great.
Just voted in his vice president, the Undertaker.
So Secretary of State is Edge. The
We're going head to head on this palm to palm match with Korea.
oh my God, yo, Triple H
Only on pay per
and
view
Shawn
this
Michaels
Sunday
are
night.
the war generals.
Can you imagine just that? Oh.
Generation X just holding the fight. Anyway,
Some of the things that I thought were cool in Peacemaker, I thought it was cool to see the helmet and all the different helmet abilities, especially from his dad that's building and creating them for them. The mention of Batmite was really kind of fun because that was from the animated Batman series. Um, I saw or heard that they wanted to put Batmite in the Suicide Squad movie, but it didn't work out. So we're just getting honorable mentions until we actually get a Batmite live action cameo. But still, I think it's kind of cool that they're still like kind of what Marvel's doing, picking up the small characters and still making them canon and putting them in.
Like,
They're just trying to play around with Batmite. I think it's funny. Let's make
so
it happen.
Batmite, if people don't know who Batmite is from this universe where he can basically, he's like an animated cartoon character from like the Looney Tunes, and
Right.
that's what every superhero and supervillain is in that universe. They are characters from like Looney Tunes or any, and they just
Spider
fly.
Pig.
They do goofy things. Spider Pig, stuff like that. Like it is kind of like that goofy, weird.
Did this feel like a cartoon?
Yeah, they also like Batmite can like take stuff from other dimensions and like he's really weird. And I thought it would have been
I'm
so
down.
funny to see Batmite kill people in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it'd just be funny. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm only like 3 episodes in. I did kind of read up a little bit after watching stuff. The Butterfly Project that we're seeing in this, it might be setting up the Blue Beetle movie, and I hope that that's a thing because that's really cool to see DC doing shows and movies and intertwining them just like Marvel is. Thank you for taking notes finally. But having the alien race and the futuristic tech kind of thing, and yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. That's for sure. But it's it's been a fun, wild, drunken uncle ride.
Yeah, it's
We're in the
it's
back
pretty,
of the Winnebago that's been gutted out and has dirty sheets in it. It's great.
it's the most redneck shit you'll watch on TV, besides Reno 911. So,
True. That's big facts.
um,
Anyway, that's kind of what I've been watching. I do want to talk about one more thing, and then I know that you have a few things that you want to talk about.
sure.
So let me. I guess I'll just go first on that, and I want to talk about Enola Holmes too,
Sure.
and I think that everyone should totally watch it. It was a really awesome movie. It was enough Sherlock Holmes without it being a Sherlock Holmes. You see kind of 2 mysteries that intertwine together, and you get to see Henry Cavill back as Sherlock Holmes. Whether that has anything to do with the Witcher break, I don't know. Um, but Enola Holmes was really good. You get to catch up with her. She's trying to be, detective, just like her big brother. Unfortunately, things are not going so well, so then she takes on a freebie case, so to speak, and it spirals into something much, much more. Cinematography was really awesome in it. It's really cool. They put like a new twist in with an old era, so you're taking new cinematography tricks and everything, but still in the time frame of old England, which really cool. The way they break fourth walls is really this time period of writing. Acting in it was absolutely superb. Just everybody in it did an amazing job. I'm not trying to give away anything in the storyline or anything because it is really good and the twists are really fun in it, so I don't really want to give too much away. But another thing I thought was really awesome in it was Millie Bobby Brown, right? That's her name. Did I say her full name
Mm-hmm.
correctly?
Yeah.
Not only was she starring in this, but she's listed as the producer at the end, which I think is crazy that this child actress, who has obviously grown up a little bit with Stranger Things and we've gotten to know her, and of course she was in a few other movies and shows, But the fact that she has moved up into producing her own movies is crazy to me. But it's also really exciting because if she's going to be producing these kind of movies where they're really fun, they have good twists, good writing, good acting, and the cinematography is really awesome and fun to watch as well. You just sold me as someone that's going to be following you a while if you're going to produce content like that, because wow. So make sure you definitely go check out Enola Holmes 2 on Netflix. Totally worth the watch. It's the second one. The first one is more of a series where you get smaller episodes, and the second one is a movie. It is a little bit lengthier, but totally worth the watch. So that's kind of my quick minute on Enola Holmes 2. Freddie, you're watching something right now, right? You're kind of binging something at the
Yeah,
moment.
I'm well, not binging. I mean, it's only like 4 episodes long right now, and me and my girlfriend, we started watching this show called Inside Man, and it's like David Tennant's in it, um, and he plays a priest, and he's basically covering up something that's pretty serious. Um, he acquires this hard drive from his son that him and his wife has separated, and I'm not going to go into full detail of what it is, but I mean, like, it's really intense, like the moments, and there's a little bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to listen to this part, skip ahead. Um, he does kidnap a woman who opened the flash drive at his house, and she's freaked out to see that there is child porn on it. And I know this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, but it's a very serious thing. And she finds it, kind of freaks out, and he becomes kind of like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna go to the cops? You're gonna do this?" And he kind of like, she kind of falls back into the cellar, and he locks the door on her. And he's been just keeping her there ever since. And I'm only on episode 2 out of the 4 episodes that there is. And right now, he's trying to bait his son on confessing about his problem, and he's held like this secret recorder underneath because he's like, I know what's on the hard drive. What is going on? Just tell me, do you want your hard drive back? And he's trying to like bait his son. And at the same time, his new wife or the person that he's dating or seeing is in the cellar with the person that is being held captive. And, we're kind of just like on edge to see what happens because she's convinced that she's going to die. They're trying to figure out a way to get this without, you know, killing her and proving to her that it's not David Tennant's hard drive, that it's his son's, so he could prove the innocence and show that there is a wrongdoing in his family. And it's a wild ride so far, and I highly recommend people checking it out. It's on
Sounds
Netflix.
interesting.
The each episode's about an hour long, um, and I gotta say, like, it could have been avoidable. And I want to say that it can be avoidable because people, when I was watching this, I was like, bitch, you could have just, been open about this and just said, hey, this is not mine. I required it from this, and I'm going to the authorities about this. Um, I. How she gets the hard drive is the dumbest way somebody can be handed a hard drive. And that is that. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just like saying like it's just
It's the reality of it.
yeah, just the reality of it was kind of dumb. So yeah, but go check it out, Inside Man. Um, I want to hear everybody's thoughts about it. It's a really good show, and if you have any other comments or any suggestions on TV shows or movies, leave them in the comments because I know we're going to be starting reaction videos soon with Steven because Steven's never seen anything. Right? Is that
Pretty
right,
much.
Mr. Asshole?
Pretty much.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
Mr.
much.
Asshole is a uncultured little boy, and he needs to be educated. So if you guys have any suggestions, we're going to be posting stuff on a weekly schedule for voting polls.
Yeah, give me
We're
your top 5 list. Give me a top 5 list of movies that I must see.
like
I
a
want to
must
know
see
'em.
before he dies. Yes,
We
like
will
one of those like
make it happen.
make it happen, Captain.
Definitely be checking that stuff out. Make sure you comment so I can watch movies. I like watching movies. Doesn't really matter age of the movie, especially if it involves something that I have seen that's more current and it's like a setup or anything like that. Like the original Tron movie. I like the original Tron movie, but I saw Tron Legacy first, and then I went back and I watched the origin, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Anyway, but kind of moving forward, I wanted to talk about Modern Warfare 2. Um, it is a grind, I will tell you. So, for those of everyone that's kind of interested or, I don't know, curious, the new weapon system in Modern Warfare 2 takes a long time to grind out. You need weapons at certain levels to unlock camos. You need um, to unlock attachments. You need different guns and everything in order to get those all unlocked just for one gun, and it's very frustrating. Everyone in the community is definitely doing a grind. If you've hit those camos and you've gotten those attachments, congratulations, because it's taken me quite a while to start leveling everything up. Um, but if you are interested in watching that kind of stuff, definitely check out my Twitch because I'm going to be live almost every day. I'm going to try to be on around 9:30 every single day, and that is Eastern Standard Time, I believe that we're on. But anyway, just a little shameless plug there. I'm also playing Jedi Fallen Order. You'll see the playthrough videos here on YouTube, but I do stream them live as well. So that's just kind of that. And we got Warzone 2 coming up soon, which I'm super excited about, but also that's going to be weird with the new guns and everything. I'm still curious to see how the 3 zones and then turning into the 1 zone, and yeah, that's going to be really interesting. But what I have found is that I'm actually a really good third person player. I was killing it the other day when I was just checking out third person. So be watching for some of that content on twitch.tv/ Mr.S. And I'll see you there. But in the meantime, I think we're going to turn it over to Kevin because not Kevin, we're going to turn it over to
Kevin?
Freddy.
Who the fuck is Kevin?
We're going to turn it over to Freddy, who has some very sad news about a guy named Kevin. Freddy?
You know, it's bad enough that you. Well, actually, I'm flattered that you confused me with the passing of a Batman actor. But
You're welcome.
Kevin Conroy passed away recently, and that is the saddest thing that has happened to this earth. I think sadder than Queen Elizabeth dying, actually, because he had more of an impact on my life than she did. So, Kevin Conroy was the voice of Bruce Wayne in Batman. Like, if you ever watch any of the animated shows from the animated series to the spin-off movies, Mark Hamill worked with him, Tara Strong worked with him. You know, they had um, they had a very good formula that a lot of things from Batman got adapted from. Like from everything from the Arkham City games to in the movies and how he talks and the playboy Bruce Wayne persona, the talking, the smirks, all that stuff comes from Kevin Conroy portraying that character. Um, like my favorite movie and watching as a child was Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And I know that's not like the best. I think it is the best animated Batman movie ever, but I don't think it's like I don't think everybody thinks it's the best Batman movie because everyone's very obsessed with Dark Knight and Robert Pattinson's portrayal, which they were fantastic on their own. But I think if you want like the like how Bruce Wayne is, you want more of that character, you want more of that type of like playboy lifestyle and crime fighting and him working with Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, and then later on it turns into Batman Beyond, which is Terry McGinnis taking over, and it's an older Bruce Wayne, and it's Kevin Conroy voicing him as a mentor.
I didn't know he did both. That's really awesome. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
the animated series, and I loved Batman Beyond.
it like that show is the best stuff. I remember like tuning in like WB Kids on Channel 12 every Saturday to watch Batman the Animated Series on TV. And then it obviously went into Static Shock and other stuff after, but Batman the Animated Series would come on every Saturday morning, and it was like
Yeah.
you just knew the feeling of like when the music starts playing and it's like that bank heist that's coming in, and like, okay, so like the sky turns red and you see these two lights and it's like and it's built off the 89 Batman, but it's perfected better from the 89 Batman movie.
Yeah.
So like man, if you guys have not watched it, please take a gander. You know, the episodes aren't that long. They're about like 19 to 20 minutes long, 23 minutes long. You know, check them out. They are really good. You can find it on God. Oh, HBO Max. HBO Max has all the animated Batman movies and shows on there, so be sure to look that out.
Including Batman Beyond.
Also, like, yeah, Batman Beyond's on there. You can hear Mark Hamill voice the Joker and whatnot, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's good
I
stuff.
mean, the best Joker out there, Mark Hamill's Joker, literally the best Joker that we've had.
Yeah,
especially animated,
also gave the
but overall,
signature laugh as well. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
He was also portrayed like the animated series transitioned into the Arkham games. Besides Origins, Origins was a weird, fucked up third cousin of a game. I'm talking about Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. Like those are like there are so many Easter eggs and so many different things from the animated show that have been implemented into that. So I'm excited to see. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm excited to see like what happens and what they have as like a farewell thing for him. You know.
Right. And that being said, turn into a live Batman Beyond series. Make Michael Keaton the old Batman, and let a young Nightwing / futuristic Batman. Oh, please give me a 3033 Batman Beyond series starring Michael Keaton as Old Man Batman with the cane and everything, and give me, I don't know, Tom Holland as young Bruce Wayne.
No, Tom Holland as Robin. I want Tom. No, I'm tired.
He would be a good Robin.
Seeing Tom Holland. I'm tired of seeing Tom Holland. I want someone new. I want someone fresh. I want someone. I want someone better than Chris O'Donnell playing this.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, maybe. But no, yeah, he's too old for the old role. He's too old for the role. I don't know. I don't know who I'd get. I don't know. Okay, so another comment section in the comments down below. Batman Beyond series. Michael Keaton starring as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Who is he training? Who would be a good fit to be the Nightwing / new Batman to take over in 3033? Let us know. I want to know.
No, it's not 3033.
I know. I'm just saying, but like
too long away, bro. You have to do it.
Dude, you have to see all the future tech, the flying cars, the flying Batmobile, the invisible suit, all the tech that's inside of the suit. I mean, you can make it kind of this era with futuristic stuff, but we're not to flying cars. This isn't Back to the Future.
Yes, but in Batman Beyond, it was set in 80 something.
Alternate universe of flying cars and future tech.
So far, that is the main future of DC Comics. So far.
Okay.
It's not. I just know that's not an alternate universe. I mean, it could be now
because saying,
of like what it is.
If you gave me a live action movie or series today, it would be okay for it to be time period that way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But not not the animated series original. I'm talking like if you gave me a new series today, set in 3033.
They won't put it in 3033 because it's too far away. They're going to put it in 2080, 2099, or something like that Marvel has been using.
It's going to be like repetitive numbers, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's like the superheroes from the older generation are still the superheroes of the older generation. I mean, we saw that in Doomsday Clock, we saw that in Kingdom Come, we saw that in, different things. I mean, but Batman Beyond is set in like the late 20s. Like it's not that far off because Bruce Wayne is still alive. We're
Right.
talking about more than 1,000 years of a jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, like I want to see, what Gotham kind of looks like because right now that is the definitive future of the DC landscape. Whether it comes to Metropolis, Emerald City, or Gotham, or any of the other places in the DC universe. I would like to see a future version of it and what like the results of the movies have rippled into the effect of that future. That would be
Right.
really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And okay,
So,
yeah, I totally agree. I just wish that we could get that Batman. I don't know. I just really want that Batman Beyond. I just really want that tech suit.
oh yeah, Terry McGinnis with his like the things that kind of just retract out, like
Mm-hmm.
the wings that just kind of like the hands form into the wings, and he just kind of like
And I want
flies.
that black and red traditional suit from the
It's
anime
so
series.
hot.
I want it. I want it. I
It's
want to see it
so
live
cool.
action. I want to see it in work.
Check out Batman
So
Beyond, guys, on HBO
on
Max.
HBO, we're not sponsored, but we should be.
We really should
Pushing
be,
people
honestly.
to the
We hype up
content
your
that we
shit
know
so
that you'll
much.
love. But then, we also have to criticize some too. So we're going to be transferring into our next segment where I become the voice in the sky for our next segment. So we're going to be talking about The Witcher. And without further ado, we're going to get into that right now. Hey guys, Mr.S here. Hey, click on part 2 for The Witcher talk. I'll see you there.
This has been the Absurd America Nerdcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. And click here for more.